Lady Bird Johnson once said, "The spirit of neighborliness was important out on the frontier because there were so few neighbors." But she said, it's even more important now because we have so many neighbors. Hi, I'm Shawn Hara, and this is Living in Longview, a show about City of Longview government and services. And today, we're going to be talking about how the Longview Police Department works alongside neighbors to be able to build stronger and safer neighborhoods right here in Longview. We're joined today by Jacky Hiles. He's one of the sergeants with the Longview Police Department. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having us.
Now, Jacky, one of your areas of responsibility is called the Longview Police Area Representatives Unit. What is that? Tell us what that is and why is that so important?
That is 6 officers that are assigned to 6 individual beats in the city of Longview. That their task is to facilitate services, to follow up with neighborhood complaints, concerns, crime trends, and to assist in reducing problems in those neighborhoods and to work with citizens.
So their main job really is on the prevention side and on building partnerships with the neighbors. And they're not out doing patrol work, they're not responding to calls, they're really working hand in hand with neighbors, right?
That's correct. Their main task is problem solving, following up with particular neighborhoods that might have had a rash of vehicle burglaries, and they're tasked with try to see what we can do to facilitate that, to prevent it from happening in the future.
And Jacky, you've been with the police department for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
you've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And you've done, you've overseen this department before, and you were even a PAR officer at one time, right?
In the early stages, that's correct.
Nice. So I'm sure you've got some various stories, a lot of history of how these types of programs really make a difference for the police department.
That's correct. Usually the PAR officer or the police will get involved after a situation has occurred. And the people, they'll say, well, what can we do? And in the beginning, what I saw was that people were hesitant to call. And in one incident, a lady observed a vehicle come to a house, and for 10 to 15 minutes, she watched from her kitchen window these people load items into this van. She didn't know her neighbor. She'd lived there 10 to 12 years. So she never called, didn't call the police. She waited till the neighbor returned to go over and to introduce herself. And she basically said, were you having a garage sale or some kind of event, because there were people over here loading up items? And naturally the neighbor says, no, why didn't you call? And she said, well, I didn't want to get in your business. So prime example is, if the lady would have called, took the initiative, the odds are we would have caught the crime in progress. So that's the type of situations where we usually get involved and try to show the people that's not the way we want you to operate.
So somebody had come and just stolen and loaded up for 15 minutes stuff out of their house.
Yes.
All right, I need to go home and talk to my neighbors.
Yes, you do.
Say, don't let them take a TV out of my house. I'm not moving. I'm not having a garage sale.
That's correct.
So let's talk a little bit more about that, about some of the crime prevention things. You know, so much of it is just as simple as knowing your neighbors, right? Who's on either side of you, who's down the street, and just becoming, first name basis with them, right?
Well, back in the old days, most people didn't even lock their homes when they'd be gone, and you knew your neighbor. People would pick up your mail, your paper. Well, nowadays, people's gotten hectic. They're working long schedules. Nobody has any free time. They come home exhausted, so they say, well, I don't want to be nosy. I don't want to interrupt people. They're tired, so I don't even introduce somebody, even when somebody sells a home and a new person moves in. It used to be where people would carry a cake or something and say, hey, here I am. I'm your neighbor across the street, but we've lost that. And we try to build that relationship back up, and that's what we mainly are tasked with, is trying to get the people just to say, hey, I'm just your neighbor. I'm not nosy. I'm not going to do this, but we need to know each other, and we want to make our neighborhood better.
Right. Well, what are some ways that you guys do that? What are some tools that you use?
Tools, we usually go in and try to say, here's the services we have to offer: home inspections, property ID theft, inventory of your property, contacts, recording all your valuable serial numbers, so forth like that. And then, but like I said earlier, it's usually we get involved after the fact, and then we have to correct that not to happen again, and it's a learning process. So we have a lot of free services to offer, especially the home inspection.
All right, but one of the big things is the neighborhood watch, right?
The neighborhood watch, yes.
And that's basically just a group of concerned people around a neighborhood that say, look, nobody cares about our neighborhood, nobody cares about our house as much as us, and let's look out for each other.
That's a good point, and like I said, the officers will never be on every corner 24/7. So we encourage the neighbors to get to know each other and not to be afraid to call the police, and that we want them to be our eyes and ears to report these suspicious activities, because of all the people in the neighborhood that knows what's going on is you in your neighborhood. You should know who comes and goes, what time the delivery truck comes, what time the mail person comes. We just want you to report suspicious activity. And that's what a neighborhood watch group will do, is to help us prevent crime by reporting any and all suspicious activity.
Now, National Night Out, that's one of the big programs that you do as well. How does that play a role in all these crime prevention ideas?
National Night Out is an event that we started in the early 80s. We got away from it for a couple of years and went to a self-initiated deal called TACT, Texans Against Crime. This year we went back to National Night Out. We did that because it's nationwide. It's a deal where we can encourage the neighborhoods to compete and to organize parties that we can be judged on, that we can enter the competition to see what size the city of Longview rates with other cities throughout the nation and Texas. And our goal is not to show off, but to try to rank as high as we can in the national ranking. And that just encourages people to participate, and there's something there to reach for. There's a goal.
Right. And the whole point of National Night Out really is it's just parties all over the community,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
people will be coming in from maybe the police department or fire department, but it's really about just the neighbors putting down the smartphone for a few seconds, turning off the TV, go out into your front yard and go meet some people
Right.
that live right next door to you.
Right.
Now, are you going to get dressed up as McGruff? Are you going to be out there?
I think I'm going to pass this year, but I probably got some people that I will designate to do McGruff.
All right. So basically, you're chickening it.
I've
just a
done
big
my
chicken.
time.
Okay, I understand. All right, but you'll be out. You'll be saying hi to neighbors all throughout that night.
Yes, I will be out. All the PAR people will be out in their beat. We will do our best to attend as many parties as possible. We will have other divisions in the police department and the fire department and the sheriff's office to participate. We'll try to attend as many parties as humanly possible.
All right, now let's talk about logistics really quickly. If somebody wants to have a National Night Out party and they don't have a neighborhood watch group already, is that okay?
That is perfectly okay. You're not required to have one. That to us is a starting point for us to start a new one and to encourage those people. Here's what's going on, and this is why we want you to be a part of it, so we can open the door for them to get started.
And if they want to sign up and they want to do National Night Out, they can contact?
They can contact myself or any of the 6 PAR officers or partners in prevention.
Very good. And if they say, hey, this is a good deal, let's do Neighborhood Watch, how does somebody get one of those started?
Once we have the first deal and they've contacted us, the PAR officer in that beat will follow up, show them how to start it, how to get a register of the neighbors, contacts, however they want to go there. We will facilitate with them the direction they want to go. 2 meetings a year, we'll put you some signs up. They don't stop crime, but at least lets the criminal know that we have neighbors on that street that will call when they see suspicious activity.
Like your entire garage being emptied over a 15-minute
Absolutely.
period. Very good. Well, Jackie, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for all your years of service in the variety of forms.
Appreciate being here.
Very good. Thanks for being with us. If you'd like to get involved with National Night Out, or maybe you want to start a neighborhood watch in your own community, we encourage you to do so. You can learn more about the City of Longview and all of our programs by going online to longviewtexas.gov. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Living in Longview.